Hello, everyone. Happy 2026 Festival of Tours Grand Finale. Whether this is your first virtual event with us or your 100th, we're happy to be with you this evening. I'm Ben Green, here to travel and celebrate with you as moderator. And with that, please join me in welcoming our Grand Finale Festival host, Rick Steves. Hello, Rick. Happy festival.
Ben, thank you very much. And you guys have put on quite a festival these last 10 days or so. I enjoyed kicking things off a couple Mondays ago. And I just thought the greatest way we could wrap this all up is just kind of enjoy the wow moments. When we review with our guides and when we have our alumni parties and we review, everybody's talking about the magic moments, the wow moments. And rather than talk about a particular itinerary today, I had the delight of just rummaging around and putting together all my favorite wow moments that we have enjoyed. And I've got photographs and I've got videos to share those wow moments. It'll be kind of a two-part Monday night travel here. The first half is going to be video clips, many of which we have never shown here, that they're brand new video clips from the work we've been doing in Europe in the last year or two. We'll be going to Poland, to the Cinque Terre, to Sicily, to Burgundy, to France, to Paris, Turkey, Hadrian's Wall in England, Epidaurus Theatre in Greece, and in the East End of London. That's just the videos. Then we'll stop for a few questions, and then I've got some photographs, a PowerPoint, just to put together a montage of my favorite wow moments. So this is the whole idea, is to get vivid experiences. That's the mark of a good traveler. I think it's the experience that really carbonates the whole thing. In our newsletter, the subtitle of our newsletter is My Favorite Experiences in Europe. So we don't need to have bucket lists. We don't need to count how many countries we've been to. Really, the currency of good travel is experiences. So think about that while I get us going on this video. I'm just looking at my desk here, experiences. I mean, this is a great souvenir here. This is my cork, and it just makes me really happy to be able to play with this cork bark and realize I was there on that farm watching them harvest the cork so they can put a nice cork in all of their beautiful port wine. We'll go there in a few minutes with the help of our videos and our photographs. I'm going to be sipping on my bison grass Polish vodka. We're going to go to Poland first, and I'm going to take my souvenir. There's actually a piece of bison grass in this bottle. This is one of those souvenirs you pick up in your travels. I'm not big on all the iconic souvenirs, but there's little bits of good living. This is great vodka. And this is a great glass, by the way. This is a glass. I know the man who carved this glass. His name is Chandelier, and he runs a little crystal glass works in Ireland, in Dingle. And I'm going to put a little bit of my Polish souvenir into a little bit of my Irish souvenir. And yeah. Oh. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, I'm going to share my screen and take you to Poland. And this is, we're going to have a look here at Poland. We'll see some vodka. We'll see some pierogi. We're going to cook. We're going to meet my good friend, Tomasz, who's one of our guides. And I hope you enjoy this.
Some of Poland's most endearing experiences are edible and drinkable. To savor this delicious dimension of Polish culture, I'm joined by my friend and fellow tour guide, Tomasz Klemek. Every time I travel in Poland, it seems vodka is quite important. What does vodka mean to Poland?
Vodka is definitely our national drink. We take it very seriously, we're very proud of it. Polish vodka is a brand that is renowned all over the world, and we do take our vodka very seriously.
So Polish vodka, does that mean Polish ingredients?
Polish vodka has to be not only made in Poland, but made from Polish local ingredients, and those could be either potatoes, so we have potatoes vodka, or grain.
So which, is this potatoes or grain?
This one is grain vodka.
Which do you like better?
I like grain better, that's my favorite.
So is there a ritual for drinking it in a pub or a bar?
Yes, there is. When we celebrate, we drink it with our friends, and we do mainly the shots. And we don't sip it like this. We just do the bottoms up.
Is that right? No sipping?
No sipping.
What if I sip?
Bottoms
What do
up.
people think?
Well, if you
Tourist.
want to be really local, you better do the bottoms up.
Okay, so really you just throw it right down.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And how do you say toast?
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
And
do it.
bottoms up. Yes.
Okay, I did it. I tried it, but I'll tell you, I like the vodka, but I do have the license to enjoy it the way I like, and I sip it. So it's a beautiful thing. Get out of your comfort zone, talk to locals, give it a try, take it home, and weave it into how you decide to enjoy your life. Now, Tomasz is going to take us shopping, and well, we just went shopping, and then we're going to go cooking and eating a classic Polish dish.
For dinner, Tomasz has promised to teach me how to make a classic Polish dish at his house. A dish that all Polish grandmas make. I'm learning how to cook pierogi. First, you knead the potato dough to just the right texture.
By the way, speaking of magic moments, we actually do this with our tours. We go into the houses of our guides and we go shopping first and we buy all the ingredients. We did with the camera crew here. And this is one of the things that distinguishes our tours. We can't promise anything I'm talking about here because it's got to be sort of go with the flow. But this is typical. This is quintessential Rick Steves Europe tour. You love your guide. He takes you home and you make some pierogi and then you eat it. Talk about experiences.
It's very relaxing. It's like going to a spa for your body and soul.
Is Grandma looking down?
I hope she is.
Then you roll it out, flat as a Polish
We
crepe.
want it as thin as possible because our dough is generally flavorless. What gives the flavor to our dish is the filling and the topping.
And cut out small discs.
By the way, this was a real workout. I'm not much of a cook. I'll never forget this.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Making cute little pockets, you tuck in the cheese, onion, and meat filling. Then you seal it watertight around the edges.
Pinch it firmly. Do
There you
it.
go.
Has to be your first pierogi. Congratulations. And we just wait for them to float.
After a short boiling bath, they're ready to eat. In true family style, we enjoy a little sunshine in the backyard and a classic Polish meal, just like Grandma or Babcia used to make.
Dziękuję babcia, yes. I hope she's proud.
Gdansk lived its most dramatic moments in the 20th century.
So this, by the way, is the city of Gdansk. That's up on the north coast of Poland. Everybody goes to Warsaw and everybody goes to Krakow. We think Gdansk is one of the great cities in Europe to visit. We're so proud to have it on our Poland tour. And it's famous for helping bring down the Soviet Union with the solidarity movement from the shipyard workers there, which we're celebrating in this clip.
World War II began right here in 1939 when Hitler invaded. And those cranes, they marked the shipyard, where 40 years later in 1980, the Soviet bloc finally began to crack. During communist times, Gdansk was home to the massive Lenin shipyard. In 1980, after decades of frustrations and struggles, shipyard workers went on strike. They created a trade union called Solidarity. Locking themselves inside the shipyard, they refused to work and scrawled their list of 21 demands on plywood. A fired shipyard electrician, Lech Wałęsa, heard news of the strike. He came here and literally climbed over the wall to get inside and join his comrades. The strike had its leader. The European Solidarity Center, with its industrial strength architecture and inspiring exhibits, tells the story both vividly and proudly. For 18 days, 17,000 workers, welders, machinists, and steelworkers stood strong. Their only connection to the outside world was to come to the gate. There they'd pass messages to family members and receive food, supplies, and encouragement. The strikers were hungry, tired, and scared, but they were both inspired and emboldened by the new Polish Pope, John Paul II. Finally, the communist authorities gave in and legalized the union. Half of the nation's workforce joined Solidarity, and change was in the air. But then, after 16 hopeful months, Polish authorities, fearful of Soviet intervention, declared martial law. Tanks rumbled through the snowy streets of Poland, and the riot police cracked down on dissidents. Solidarity went underground, yet it gained momentum. In 1989, the roundtable talks brought about elections. The result? Solidarity, now a political party, won every available seat. These first cracks in the Eastern Bloc spread quickly. Within a few months, the Berlin Wall fell, borders opened up, communist regimes voted themselves out of existence, and Lech Wałęsa was elected the first post-communist president of Poland.
Wow. Solidarity. Solidarity, that's historic. Just last month, Solidarity in Hungary brought down Viktor Orban, their autocrat. And the morning after the Hungarians won their freedom, my e-box was filled with messages from all my Polish guide friends, all my Hungarian guide friends, saying, we did it, now you guys can. Solidarity. I was just giving a talk last night at the biggest church in Seattle, St. Mark's Cathedral. And we gave 2 talks. 1,000 people packed the place 2 times last night, talking about solidarity and the importance of speaking up for all of your rights and how we can be inspired and learn from history. We always send out a link after each one of our Monday night travels. Tomorrow's link is going to have a link directly to the 60-minute talk that I gave about the fragility of our democracy from a European perspective. It's my No Kings Rally talk, but with much more depth and with an indoor voice. I hope you can link onto that and get my thoughts on that, because I'm so inspired by the solidarity we've seen in Europe, from the days of the shipyard workers in Poland to the solidarity Europe showed in the face of Trump wanting to take Greenland. Solidarity, it really works well.
The Cinque Terre is 5 little towns, beautifully isolated in the most seductive stretch of the Italian Riviera. As if designed for good times, you can explore the region's rugged little ports, follow a wine train high into the vineyards, make pesto in its birthplace, dive from spectacular cliffs, and hike, soaking up more sun and scenery than you can imagine. The Cinque Terre, which means 5 lands, was originally described in medieval times as the 5 castles. Tiny communities like this grew up in the protective shadows of their stony castles, their people ready to run for refuge at the first hint of a Turkish pirate raid. As the threat of pirates faded, the communities grew with economies based on fish, olives, and grapes. Today, the big employer is tourism. Each rustic town is a variation on the same theme, a well-whittled pastel jumble of homes filling its ravine. These days, the castles, which used to protect the towns from marauding pirates, guard only glorious views. This 10-kilometer stretch of coastline is the rugged alternative to the glitzy Riviera resorts nearby. The traffic-free charm is a happy result of its natural isolation. Just sun, sea, sand, well, pebbles, and people. For me, this is Italy at its most relaxed.
Oh man, I love the Cinque Terre. Look at that. Look at that. It's so accessible. I was just there in September with my girlfriend, and it was her first time to the Cinque Terre, and I got to enjoy it, through her enthusiasm. I'll be there in about a month, updating our material on there as I research. I want to remind you, each of these little clips I'm showing you, it comes from a 30-minute episode. And we have 130 of these 30-minute episodes covering Europe available for free anytime on our website. When somebody asks me, we want to go to Scotland, where should we go? I say, go to my website. There's 3 half-hour shows on Scotland. And then you've got 90 minutes of what I would do if you took our tour around Scotland, and you could decide to do it on your own, or you could decide to let us do the driving. But this is the Cinque Terre, and that's part of our Best of Europe tours. It's part of our Best of Italy tours. And it's just a classic back door. These are the places that I feel like I was able to discover back when I was a kid. And we've been enjoying the magic of these places ever since. We like to orient and disperse. That means to make sure we do what we should do as a group together. And then with our tours, make sure you got free time to do the things you want to do on your own.
For a home base, choose among the 5 villages. The most popular, Vernazza, where the big news is the hourly arrival of the train, bringing an almost rhythmic surge of visitors into town. There's one main street. It runs from its train station down to the sea. Of the 5 towns, Vernazza has the closest thing to a natural harbor. The old castle no longer says stay away. Instead, it seems to welcome people-packed excursion boats. Settle into a comfy spot on the breakwater. Study the arrangement man and nature have carved out here over the last 15 centuries. Crumpled hills come with topographical lines, a terraced green bouquet of cactus, grapevines, and olive trees blanketing the surrounding hills. Today, the castle functions as a tourist lookout and a restaurant. And the fort's lowest deck is perfect for a romantic meal. For a sweet dessert wine, sip the local shakitra. It's served with biscotti, ideal for dunking. Savor the view and the unforgettable setting. Italy's Cinque Terre is an irresistible mix of nature, culture, and human activity. Well-worn locals, sunburned travelers, and inviting family-friendly piazzas. Sure, the place is now well discovered, but I've never seen happier, more laid-back tourists. While the Cinque Terre now endures the storms of the modern world, the region's charms are as endearing as its people are resilient. Over the last 2,500 years, the island of Sicily's been ruled by Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Normans, then Spaniards, before becoming part of Italy. The island's complicated past makes it distinct from the rest of Italy. It's got its own cuisine, a uniquely festive lifestyle, and people who are Sicilian first and Italian second. It all combines for a full-bodied and tasty travel experience.
Okay, this is Sicily. I love Sicily. If you like Italy, I mean, if you really like Italy, you'll like Sicily. It's kind of Italy in the extreme. If Italy's getting on your nerves, Sicily might be a little bit too much for you. But it's one of our best-selling tours. And, I said it's one of our best-selling tours. It's a foodie's dream come true. We're going to be seeing lots of good food in this episode. At Rick Steves Europe, we've got a book, we've got a TV show, and we've got tours for almost all of these things. You research with the book, you check out the TV show to see what we'd recommend you do, and then you get over there on your own, or you jump on one of our buses. And I also want to remind you that this is an opportunity right here to be catering to the more experienced travelers. When my son's in Italy right now leading one of our Best of Europe tours. That's the Best of Europe in 20 days. And Andy reminds me that on the Best of Europe tours, it's mostly people on their first trip with us. But if you were to take our Sicily tour, I would say when you have your introductions, the average of how many Rick Steves tours the people on this tour are taken would be 4 or 5. People have taken many of our tours by the time they get to Sicily, and they realize Europe can really hardly ever be exhausted of its wonderful destinations. Let's have some more of Sicily.
The ancient city of Agrigento is the most impressive ancient site in Sicily. Its ridge lined with Greek temples. It was a religious ensemble, about a dozen temples for a dozen gods, each serving a different role. Here at Agrigento, you were fully covered. And of all those temples, the Temple of Concordia is the best preserved. Cefalù is Sicily's most romantic port town. With a golden crescent beach and sitting safely under its dramatic rock, still capped by a fortress, Cefalù cradles its past in a way that's easy to enjoy. Since the town was founded, its streets have lined up with the prevailing wind to catch the cooling breeze. To this day, laundry flaps in that breeze. And Palermo is Sicily's main city and historic capital, a busy port corralled by mountains. A noisy and energetic metropolis, its architecture reflects the rule of its many overlords as well as its rich heritage. Walking the lively streets, you're surrounded by a scruffy elegance. It's a city that invites exploration. You feel Palermo's boisterous spirit in its markets. Wander among a commotion of stalls, all competing for the buyer's attention.
I gotta say, this is one of my favorite things when you go into the markets of Sicily. There's just a chorus. It's like 50 tenors all singing in operatic voices. And what I had a brainstorm with my TV crew was we were going to take the singing of the market and put it with Italian opera music and let it be the finale of our Blitz Tour of Italy TV show. This is the first time we've ever done this. You're looking at the finale, the eighth stop, and we go 3 or 4 minutes in each of 8 stops for the best of Italy. We saw the Cinque Terre, now we're seeing Sicily. I do want to remind you that all of these clips are available in their entire half-hour versions, but this is just part of a new show from our 13th series, 13 new TV shows that are just airing all over the country now. But notice how much fun my crew had putting the opera music in here as we morph from Sicily to Italy in general. This is the last clip of that Italy show, so we go from Sicily to celebrating Italy.
It's an entertaining scene complete with singing salesmen.
Scusi.
Whether you understand the lyrics or not, this slice of life market action is some of the best in Europe.
Sanguinello, sanguinello! Il scalone 5 mazzo euro! O è salita la Momaggio! Oh momaggio! Esce che cocciolero, fame caccia per piselli! Ma la cara mia, ma la cara! Oh, stasera siamo nonna in 5! E vive da! Bollito!
Bollito. That means boiled bits of a cow's nose, his feet, his ears. They boil it and it's crunchy. Cartilage, baby, and it's good. Bollito.
Whether you want bella chaos in the market, tranquility in the countryside, inspiration in the museums, or just a romantic perch to ponder it all, Italy is popular for good reason.
Well, now we're in Burgundy. This is the place where the very best wine is in, I think, perhaps the entire world. I was filming our Burgundy Gourmet Barge Tour TV show, which is part of the new series. I was with my buddy Steve Smith. He's our France expert. And we walked from the barge up into a little town, Rouy, and we stumbled onto this wonderful vineyard and a chateau and the aristocratic family that has been running it for generations. And as it turned out when we visited, one of our tour groups were here. I didn't even know we went to this castle, this chateau. And I got to know the lord of the manor, and we came back with our TV crew later on, and it was just a beautiful moment. And it reminded me how many intimate, rich moments, cultural experiences, my vast team of guides and partners laced together into our tours.
France's rolling hills of the Côte d'Or, or Golden Slopes, are blanketed by lovingly tended vineyards. Co-author of my France guidebook and my mentor in all things French, Steve Smith, knows a great chateau just a short walk from the canal, where we can taste some unforgettable Burgundy wine.
Okay, so we're walking in a clos. You can see there is 4 walls everywhere.
Raoul is proud that this enclosure, or clos, with its stony walls, still protects the very best part of the vineyard, as it has since the Middle Ages. It's all about exposure to the sun and the personality of the soil, the terroir. This is a classic Burgundian scene.
So we don't just do a wine tasting. We visit the man whose family's name is on the bottle. We walk through the vineyards, and then we go into his 800-year-old chateau, and we enjoy the fruit of the vine and all of that beautiful, beautiful culture. This is a beautiful dimension of France, something I'm so proud to have on our tours. And of course, this would be a stop on our Best of Eastern France tour in 14 days.
And it's a privilege to share it with a man whose family's long been a part of this rich heritage. So how do you know when to harvest?
So we have to look and also to taste. We take a grapes, we taste it, and we have the sugar. The skin is quite thin, it's not too strong. Okay. And after, we also have some, we can do some test in the labo, in the wine estate, just to be sure with the sugar level.
600 years ago, your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa could stand here and taste a grape right here.
Exactly.
And he would think, the skin is just perfect.
Just perfect. Here, this is the Chateau de Ruy. So this castle is in my family since the beginning. That means since the end of the 12th century. Look
Your
at
family.
Yes, my family. So I am the 26th generations.
This is a very old kitchen.
This is a medieval kitchen. So this kitchen is in the 12th century tower. So this is the oldest part of the castle.
See, he's not showing off his castle because he loves to have foreigners come into his house. He's paying his rent, or he's earning his living. He's paying his taxes. He's fixing the chateau. He's keeping it up. And he opens it to tour groups. So we book our time with him. And this is a classic example of nobility that has to work just in order to keep their vast estate going.
There's many, many centuries of wine tasting right here.
Exactly.
Let's continue that tradition.
Of course. So the labels, there we have the name of the wine estate, and which is very nice, interesting, we have the name of the plot, so the name of the land, Molesme.
So Molesme is the name of that little piece of land like we were just at.
Exactly.
Burgundy's known for its Pinot Noir, and we're tasting some of Raoul's very best.
First, smell it. Very nice Pinot Noir. Yeah. Then you can taste it.
Oh, that has a personality. What would I be tasting?
We have a bit of red fruit, not of leather.
Red fruit, leather. Okay. And what else?
So this one is earthy.
Earthy.
Yeah, the French call it sous bois, or under the woods.
Under the woods, I like that. Okay.
Yes.
So we have 45 different itineraries, and the shortest tours are 1-week tours. We've got a 1-week tour of Paris, London, Rome, and Istanbul. Right now we're going to go to Paris, and we're going to meet a woman named Natalie who's going to take us shopping.
Paris can be overwhelming. To feel more settled, I like to choose a neighborhood and make it home. And it seems like each neighborhood has a market street that gives it a small-town charm. For those learning the fine art of living Parisian style, market streets can be ideal. My local friend, Natalie, is shopping for a dinner party on Rue Claire, and I'm tagging along. So in France, I like the way it's all about seasonal, and that means good flavor. It's almost like a religion. You have to have the best flavor.
Yeah, you have to have the best flavor, the best colors, and for example, like tomatoes. You don't eat tomatoes during the winter because they are tasteless.
If it's in season, it's local.
Oh yeah, most of them come from the Île-de-France, you know, it's around Paris, and especially look at this.
These are
look
beautiful.
At this, look at these tomatoes. You can have this one, this color, little ones like this, you know. This one, for example, you
I
see.
can see that now. So we know it's going to be flavorful, but also you're thinking how it looks.
Yeah.
So you're raising the bar. It's seasonal and it's pretty.
Yup.
Okay, it's time for the meat course. There's a lot of options.
Yeah. But as it's summer, we don't want to eat too much meat, so lamb chops are perfect. Bonjour monsieur, bonjour. Je voudrais des petites côtes d'agneau là. Je les cuis pendant combien de temps? Okay, 2-3 minutes.
So what did he tell you?
I asked him how long should I cook them. He said if you like them rosé, this means not too cooked, 2-3 minutes on each side. That's it.
So I love this. You know this man. You trust his advice.
Oh yeah, because they know. Ça sera tout aujourd'hui, merci.
So just a month ago, I was on our guide mentoring tour, and we were taking our newer guides through a market and giving setting the model of how we want our travelers to be intimate, part of the local culture. This has got to be slice of life. This is so inspiring to me. And I want to remind you, you can get this sort of Market Street experience in so many places. It doesn't just need to be Paris. And it's something that we really prioritize on, is to get that sense that we're living there. And you take home a little bit of joie de vivre. I mean, the beauty of living well and eating well.
Yes, the cheese shop. This is just a festival of mold.
Smell how good that is. In a French meal, you really have to have cheese. Oh, we'll take this camembert à la truffe, un morceau. That's beautiful. It's truffle camembert. It's a new thing. Before they started with the brie, but now they do the camembert. It's so good. It's so good. Hard cheese now, you see. Morceau de comté, vous avez du... Moi, I like 24 months old comté because it's flavory. It's
okay,
more,
so older is more flavor.
The older is better. Oh, oui, c'est bien.
The street is lined with shops to cover each item on Natalie's menu. Up next, wine.
Bonjour, Chloé. Bon.
So we know our meat, we know our cheese.
Yeah.
Now we select the correct wine.
Absolutely. You can't have like any wine with your food. You have to pick up the right one because it is combination of wine and food that people enjoy in France.
For the lamb chops, we select a light red wine and something more robust for the cheese course.
Ça, c'est la région de Bordeaux.
Absolument.
Et c'est un Médoc. Like that.
This is so beautiful with the cheese and now with the wine neighboring on the same street with beautiful people who are experts to help us out.
Absolument.
Life is good.
Okay. Life is good.
And no French dinner would be complete without a fresh baked baguette
Okay, oui, merci.
and a bouquet of flowers for the table.
This one would be perfect.
This here?
Yeah, this,
Okay.
like little sunflower.
That's nice.
And this one. I like this one, the pinky one. Look how
Oh, look at
pretty. Yeah, they will. Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. It was fun.
Bon appetit.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Natalie. Au revoir.
Bye.
Just a slice of Paris. I was mentioning that we have about 45 tours, and our shortest tours are 7-day city tours. And London, Paris, Rome, obviously. But the fourth city, there's 4 cities in Europe that I believe deserve a whole week with a Rick Steves tour. And city number 4 is Istanbul. Check this out.
It's easy to overlook that in the year 600, Istanbul, with 500,000 people, was the largest city in all of Europe. One good way to fathom that is to descend into one of its massive cisterns, as the ancient city had an impressive water system. This cistern was built 1,500 years ago by Emperor Justinian, who built many of the city's grandest buildings. Some of these columns were scavenged from ancient temples, giving the cistern a few artistic surprises.
It was a huge underground reservoir, one of many that brought water to the city's residents. This one was the biggest, as it served the emperor's palace.
For nearly 1,000 years, fresh water from 10 miles away was channeled here through pipes and across aqueducts. And part of the legacy of that original water system are the city's venerable public baths.
Hi, welcome, sir.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
I'm Rick Steves. In this city of experiences, one of the most memorable is enjoying a Turkish bath, a ritual that goes back 2,000 years.
First time I took a Turkish bath in Istanbul must have been 1975. And I've been going back to Istanbul ever since. And now the delight for me is that we take hundreds of Americans to Turkey. Our Turkey tours are such an experience. I make sure my loved ones, sooner or later, enjoy one of our Turkey tours. It's the most impactful tour we offer. And one of those experiences that we like to arrange for our groups is a Turkish bath.
And today, these baths welcome tourists. You leave absolutely everything in the changing room. Slip into your slippers and shuffle into the steamy caldarium. It's all about relaxation. Turks brought the steam bath with them from Central Asia, blended it with the Roman bath culture they found here, and created this, the Turkish bath. Moving on, you continue relaxing and softening up under cascades of hot water. Savor the experience, achieving maximum sweating and pampering. Then it's on to the big marble slab, where your masseuse works you over, scrubbing vigorously with rough Brillo pad-type mitts. Under Ottoman skylights, blanketed in bubbles. Then more scrubbing, as I imagine this ancient luxury working its magic over so many centuries. More bubbles, more massaging, and finally, rinsing. Refreshed and cleaner than you can remember ever being, you venture back into the clamor of the city, ready for more Turkish history, art, and life.
I want to make a point here. When you take a Rick Steves tour, we embrace culture shock. A lot of people try to avoid culture shock, but we think culture shock is a constructive thing. It's the growing pains of a broadening perspective. It's why we travel. It just needs to be curated, and we curate it. The standard wisdom among tour operators in Europe is don't talk politics, don't talk religion, and don't talk football. It just makes people fight. Well, I just had 100 of our tour guides in my living room here a few months ago, and we had our week-long series of workshops and so on right here in Edmonds. And we encourage our guides to talk politics, talk religion, even talk football. But we say do it respectfully and doing it in a way that just shares your cultural experience and your worldview. And we need to understand the complexity of this world. That is the beauty of travel. And that's why we venture so far away. So we like to give our travelers a real experience with whirling dervishes. It's not dinner time entertainment on a cruise ship. It's people meditating on the teachings of Rumi and how they can be a conduit of God's love. And they whirl themselves into a meditative trance. And if we can find a progressive sect of Islam that welcomes tourists in, we do. We sit there, we're inspired, and we learn.
The Muslim faith is as varied as the Christian faith. Some groups are more orthodox and conservative, and others more progressive, like this congregation of mystic Sufi dervishes, which welcomes women to take leadership roles. While some worship in grand mosques, others gather in a more intimate space like this, where musicians set the mood. The leader guides the congregation in prayer, and slowly the dervishes blossom into a state where they're ready to whirl. Dervishes are like monks, inspired by the mystic 13th century poet Mevlana, also known as Rumi. Not all dervishes whirl, but all whirlers are dervishes. With one foot planted in their community, their family, and the other foot dancing around and around, celebrating the diversity of God's great creation, they whirl themselves into a meditative trance. In this mesmerizing form of prayer, the dervish contemplates how everything in the universe whirls, from the smallest particles to the earth and beyond. By whirling, the dervish goes with the cosmic flow. Mevlana's teaching is all about love and finding that elusive oneness. With one hand symbolically reaching up to their heavenly creator, and the other like a fountain showering that love on all of creation, the dervish meditates on how they can be a conduit of God's love.
So a beautiful thing about a tour is you have a bus, and that'll let you get away from the big cities and into the far reaches of the country of your travel dreams. With the bus, you can get away from the crowds, you can get into nature, you can get into some beautiful slices of history. Our challenge as guides is to get you there safely and efficiently, to give you the context, so you can go back and imagine what was life back then. We're going to go to Hadrian's Wall here in the north of England and imagine what life was like 1,800 years ago if you were a Roman soldier stationed on the far north edge of that vast empire. Think about walking on this wall, surrounded by all that wonder, all that history, thanks to your tour guide and the decision you decided to take a tour that would take you there, like we like to do.
Leaving the Lake District, we drive east for more highlights of North England. The road parallels my favorite ancient Roman site in all of Britain. Hadrian's Wall was built by the Romans during the reign of Emperor Hadrian, nearly 2,000 years ago. This is one of England's most thought-provoking sites and much loved by hikers. This great stone wall stretched 73 miles from coast to coast across the narrowest part of northern England. This was more than just a wall. It was a cleverly designed military rampart manned by 20,000 troops. At every mile along the wall, a small fort guarded a gate. Its actual purpose is still debated. The wall, which often takes advantage of natural contours in the land, likely defined the northern edge of the empire and helped defend Roman Britain to the south from pesky, hard-to-conquer barbarians to the north. Today's modern border between Scotland and England still runs pretty close to this ancient wall. A particularly well-preserved segment of the wall leads to Housted's Roman fort. Roman forts had a standard design, a rectangular shape containing a commander's headquarters and barracks. There's little more than stone foundations remaining. These stones raised a floor to give stored grain ventilation. And this was once a set of Spartan barracks. Pondering these desolate ruins, I can imagine the bleakness of being a young Roman soldier stationed here 18 centuries ago.
Another good opportunity to take advantage of that bus is on our Greece tour, which takes us to remote Greek sites, ancient Greek sites that'll just blow you away. Here we're visiting the fabled theater at Epidavros with amazing acoustics. And as a good tour guide, whether I had 25 tourists in the seats or my cameraman up in the top row, I wanted to demonstrate the acoustics of this theater with no microphone. And you'll hear that in just a minute. Oh, by the way, our Greece tour now, just this year, we're opening up a second tour. We've got a long Greece tour of 14 days and now a shorter Greece tour in 8 days. And this is such a great site. It's in both of those tours.
An hour's drive east is the sanctuary at Epidavros, with the best preserved theater in the ancient world, surrounded by the scant remains of its city. In 400 BC, Epidavros, with a sprawling complex of hospitals and sick wards, was the most famous healing center in the Greek world. It was a place of miraculous cures and comfortable benches, where the sick came to be treated by doctor priests doing the work of Asclepios, the Greek god of medicine. The highlight of Epidavros is its fine theater, which provided entertainment for those who made the pilgrimage here from all over Greece. It continued to operate until 426 AD, when Emperor Theodosius II, who was a Christian, closed it down along with all other pagan sanctuaries. Given its size, over 12,000 seats, and an obvious lack of modern amplification, the acoustics needed to be perfect. And they still are.
Friends, Greeks, wayfarers, in these times of discord, fear is rampant in our society. I contend that the flip side of fear is understanding. And those who travel will reap great understanding by meeting people who find other truths to be self-evident and God-given.
So now we're going to London. It's our last video clip, and I'm so thankful to have the excuse to go and research for the book and find out what is the best use of our tour time as we take 25 people at a time or so around these great sites. For example, when tourists go to London, they are hell-bent on going to the Borough Market. I went there this year. I went there last year. We want to love it. It's just so darn touristy now. It's just not the Borough Market anymore. So I worked hard and we found another market that is what the Borough Market used to be, Spitalfields Market. And then we took a food tour. All over Europe with our tours, we like to hire a local food guide. You're going to meet a food guide here. His name is Max, and he has the enthusiasm that you'll enjoy when you take a food tour. And there's a good chance you'll have a food tour on your Rick Steves tour, wherever you travel in Europe.
London's East End is one of the city's most happening neighborhoods. Once a rough and tumble immigrants' quarter, today London's East End is a creative playground for artists and chefs alike. London's looming skyscrapers tower above the East End like a tsunami wave ready to crash this party. But life here seems more focused in the present. We're joining a food tour for a tasty education.
Hey guys, I'm Max with Eating Europe. We're going to go on a food tour today in Spitalfields Market and the East End. This is where culture, immigration and food all meet. Spitalfields Market was a fruit and vegetable market for over 300 years. Today, Spitalfields Market is just filled with these incredible food stops. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's good, it will find itself here.
First up, a cheese plate appetizer.
All right, we have got a lovely creamy blue cheese. Then we've got a really light French cheese here, Comté. This is a Swiss Alpine cheese, nutty, creamy, delicious. Help yourselves, guys. We love cheese over here. we love it. Okay. Curry sauce, big in this country. We've got 3 here. Butter chicken, black lentil dal maharani, railway lamb. That will be the spiciest, but it's all pretty English spicy. Curry in the last 20, 30 years has become the UK's national dish. There are 5,000 more curry houses in this country than there are fish and chip stands. The East End is by far and away the best place to have a curry in London. This street alone has more than 30 curry houses on it. It's the spiritual home of the Bangladeshi community. You will notice though, every curry house on Brick Lane says it's the best on Brick Lane. The East End has centuries of layers of cultural history. The French were here, then the Jewish were here, then the Bangladeshi community, and now the hipsters are here. If you want to come and see street art in London, you come to the East End. This is not just graffiti, this is art. This is a way of people, the voiceless, expressing their voice with their spray cans. And every one of these pictures tells a unique story. If you come back here this time next year, all of this will have changed. All of it will be different. New stories for new people in a neighborhood that is ever changing. Everywhere you go around the East End, every street you turn, there is always something new and something beautiful. It's time for an East End classic, fish and chips.
Puppies. I love going to fish and chips places, but you got to get a good one. And a year before this, I searched and searched and searched, and I had a local food guide to update my London book, and I found this place, and I made sure that Max took us here. You know, you just got to try the iconic classics, and we're going to finish off with fish and chips and then a crumble.
And here are our fish and chips. Fish and chips was made, invented in the East End in the 1850s. It is still an absolute icon of this area. So we have curry sauce here, quintessentially British. You can slather it on, you can dip. Same with the mushy peas. It's like a thick split pea soup, goes perfectly with chips. Tartar sauce there. You've got your pickle or gherkin or wally. If you're from the East End, it's a wally. Salt and vinegar is crucial. It's mandatory. Vinegar first, then the salt, so the salt sticks. Oh yeah.
Health food.
And just when it feels like you couldn't eat another bite, we head back to Spitalfields Market for one final British delight.
Crumble is the quintessential British dessert. Stewed apple in sugar, maple syrup, cinnamon. On top of that, you've got your shortbread layer, kind of crumbled shortbread. On top of that, you have your warm vanilla custard. On top of that, you have our non-traditional crumble ingredient. Pink piped marshmallow, which is then lightly blowtorched and then sprinkled with some rose petals. Perhaps the most hipster crumble you will ever see, possibly in your lifetime. The trick is, dig right the way to the bottom, get every single layer on that spoon.
I'm not into over-the-top desserts, I gotta say, but this was heavenly. It was the greatest little treat I've ever had in London.
Not so humble anymore.
So we do a lot of London on our 1-week London tour. And of course, London would be a big stop on our Best of England tours. So, hey, Ben, that was fun to look at those new clips. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll take a little break now for some questions.
Rick, what an assortment of experiences. You had me drooling there at the end. I was laughing. I was singing with the guys at the Sicilian market. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, that opera thing in the Sicilian market, it actually worked. I remember we thought, is this possible? Put opera music to those singers? Because I find the singers in the markets just gorgeous in a very noisy, boisterous way.
Memorable, so memorable. Rick, my first question is from many people, and actually the answer is now missing. There's a little sort of dent in the bed there in front of the fire. Could you tell us about your canine friend?
Oh, Jackson, he's right here. You know, I think the problem is it's too hot for him. But Jackson is my girlfriend's dog, Shelly's dog, and Jackson is a Labradoodle. Jackson, can you come here, Jackson? Come here, come here, come here. Can you come up here? There we go. Jackson loves to get a massage. And I'll tell you, oh, Jackson, I love you. I didn't like dogs until COVID hit. And then I met my wonderful girlfriend, and she came with 2 big dogs. So I had to get used to it. And now I don't know what I was missing. My sister loves dogs. She was an Iditarod runner and loves to mush dogs up in Alaska. And I never understood her love of dogs, and she never understood my dislike of dogs. But now I'm a complete convert. And Jackson's a beautiful dog. Okay.
I'm glad you've seen the light, Rick.
It took me a while. It was one of my COVID bonuses. I call it a Corona bonus.
Switching gears, there's a lot going on in the world, Rick. Is it safe to go to Europe? Are people welcome when they travel there? Could you give us an update on the latest on your thoughts here?
Well, I'm leaving for a 50-day trip tomorrow. I'm going to be in Greece. I'm going to be in Italy. I'm going to be in Germany and Switzerland. The war and my safety because of the war hasn't even crossed my mind. I think it's totally illogical for somebody to be worried about their safety when you consider the war. I wouldn't go, into a war zone, that's for sure. But I'm not concerned about it. We've got about 100 buses on the road today, all over Europe, in Turkey, Poland, Spain, Sicily. We've got 200 guides, European guides. We took 30,000 people to Europe last year with all the chaos our president was causing. It's never been a concern for our people. There is fear, and fear is real, but risk is a statistical thing, and there's no risk. when people tell me have a safe trip, I'm inclined to tell them, well, you have a safe stay at home, because where I'm going statistically, and I know statistics are optional these days, but where I'm going statistically is safer than where you're staying. Europeans laugh out loud when they hear that Americans are staying home for safety reasons. They know the statistics. Germans can't believe that we stay home and are not wigged out by the statistical danger in our country compared to theirs. We lose 15 or 20,000 people a year to handgun deaths. Germany loses a couple hundred. I mean, if you care about your children and you understood the statistics, you'd take them to Europe tomorrow. This is one way we sell tours. I wouldn't concern myself with the risk. I am concerned about the economic chaos that our president is causing with his wars of choice and with his erratic tariffs and with his betrayal of our friends. And there will be higher prices for flying. And there will be planes canceled. My return home from Switzerland on June 20th, it was on Swiss Air, they canceled it. And my travel agent said, well, then they just stick you on another tour. So another flight. So instead of flying direct from Zurich to Seattle, now I'm flying on Lufthansa from Zurich to Munich to Seattle. But I'm not losing sleep over it. It's amazing how well things work out. I got to say, one downside of all of the chaos in the world right now in our president's policies is the value of the dollar is going down. And that's going to hit us all. The dollar is down 10% since Trump took office for his second term. In the last year, dollar is down 10%. What does that mean? The money you spend in Europe everything's going to go up in price for you in your dollars by 10%. What does that mean for me? All of my expenses as a businessman have gone up 10%. We pay our guides. They pay them in dollars, but we've upped their pay because the value of our dollar has gone down. All of our hotels, all of our buses, everything is up 10%. That squeezes our cost of goods sold go up 10% and squeezes our profit. We are, as a matter of principle, it's our policy. We don't raise our prices after we've set them on people who have already booked a tour. If suddenly the tour costs us more, we eat that, just like we profit if the dollar goes up. Anybody that buys a tour now will be taking advantage of prices that were set before this, and therefore avoiding some of that loss in the value of our dollar. But let's hope that things calm down and our dollar regains its strength and the oil starts running again, because that's going to be on people's mind. But from a safety point of view, it's not a big issue. I think we've opened the sales for our tours for 2027 10 days ago, and I believe we've sold about 3,500 seats on our tours. That's wonderful. That's about what we expect during any time. So our clientele is a little more savvy, a little more judicious in their understanding of the news and their choice of what news services that shapes their perspective on the world. Our travelers, our clients are more well-traveled, and they just have a more tempered, even-handed look at things, and they're comfortable traveling to Europe now, and they're signing up. It's not good for business, all this chaos, but things are good, and we're just hoping and praying that we can sort these things out in the Middle East without too much chaos. My heart goes out to people in the Middle East, in the Holy Land, in the global South, where prices go up, and that means starvation.
On a different note, Rick, Colleen is curious to know, if you only travel in a carry-on, how do you take some of these souvenirs you've shown us home? For example, your Polish bison grass vodka.
My cork.
Your cork.
I can stick that in my pocket. My bison grass, I've never taken a bottle home. I never would. It makes no sense to me. I take a photograph of the label, and then I go to a place that can sell this here and import it for me, and that's where I got that. I pack light. I'm going on a 50-day trip tomorrow, and I've already packed it. I'm ready to go, and I'm gonna carry my bag on. I can't remember the last time I checked a bag. of the 30,000 people that took our tour last year, all of them packed with a carry-on the airplane size bag. That's just a standard for us. It's a good way to shape the clientele. You'll be thankful if you pack light.
Rick, how did you first get into food tours? And by the way, this is the last question I'll ask, so I'll let you move on. But food tours, they've exploded. I just took a couple, as I think you know, in Venice to assess for the next edition of the Venice book. They were fantastic.
You can learn a lot about culture and art and history in galleries, in palaces, reading history books. And you can also learn a lot about cultures through the hearth and through the cuisine. And I'm Johnny come lately to that. And I love that dimension of European culture. And food tours just cost about $100 per person. It takes you 4 hours, so it's a fair investment. It's a $40 meal. So think of it as a $40 meal. It's a mobile meal, and think of it as a $50 or $60 experience. And you get to know a local guide. You get to know some cool tourists. You go to 7 or 8 artisan gourmet, bakers and chefs and so on. And I like to do it early so I gain some skills on my eating for the rest of my visit in that country. But now we do include it in a lot of our tours. It's very popular in our books. And I just think we like to get more voices on my tours. On a Rick Steves tour, you've got your guide, but you also have your local guides. And even if the guide could do the tour fine in a city, we like to hire a local guide just so you get another perspective, another voice. And it's just a fun dimension of our tours. All right, Ben, that was fun to be able to talk about how people are being received and so on in Europe. And I'm thankful that they're being received very well. Right now, what I want to do is shift over, and I'm going to get a PowerPoint up. And this PowerPoint, magic moments. Oh yeah, magic moments. This is going to be fun. So let me just make sure I've got it set, and we will share this. All right. So these are our, and let's see, buckle up, because I'm going to go pretty fast on this. I'm going to try to limit this to 20 minutes. We'll have a few more questions, and then we will be on our way, so I don't go more than an hour and a half. But I just love those video clips. That was fun. So thanks for sharing them with, letting me share them with you. Here's a map that shows all of our tours. It covers all of Europe. And of course, you could drill in on any of those, but right now I'm just talking magic moments anywhere. I can't promise that every one of these magic moments is going to be on your tour, but these are from tour experience. And it's the philosophy of our tours. I want to remind you, we're just wrapping up this year's Festival of Tours, all of these events, and we're the last one here, Monday, the 27th of April. All of these events are available on our website, and you can visit them with your travel partners and get to know what we're sharing. My company originally was called Europe Through the Back Door. And this was the back door that inspired it when I was a teenager. This is the door to King Arthur's castle in England. I love going through the back door and finding the magic of Europe by surprise. And this is a mural I hired my niece to make. She's a street artist in New Orleans. And God's giving me, it's a little bit immodest, a guidebook. And from that explodes all this travel joy. And we can share all this travel joy with you guys. This is a 15 by 24 foot Sistine Chapel type ceiling in our office. And I'm just inspired by how much fun is waiting in Europe. Experiences. Well, when you're in Venice, you want to cross the canal with the locals like this. Last time I was in Venice with a group, I thought, great, let's go on a traghetto. So we all packed onto a traghetto, and rather than walking all the way around to find a bridge, we crossed at the convenient spot. When I was with our Turkey tour, we were way in the center of Turkey and Cappadocia, and we just fell in love with these baggy pants. And we all bought baggy pants in the market. This is our tour group on Turkey. I just love our Turkey tour. And we'd prance around for into the town with our baggy pants. And then my guide mentioned a little while later, Rick, only women wear these pants. so we were all running around in women's pants, but that's fun. We had a blast because we were going local, even though we were making mistakes. Anywhere in our travels, we like to connect with the farm life and the rural dimension of these countries. And to meet a shepherd, to get to know the sheepdogs, and to watch those sheepdogs work is a lot of fun. And then if you're lucky, maybe you're going to stumble onto a clan gathering in Scotland. This is one of our wonderful guides, Liz Lister, and they have these feats of strength where you pick up the stone and carry it. Another fun thing we do is in Ireland is falconry. I had never experienced falconry until I put on that arm guard and we wandered through a forest, and this big mighty bird would go out there and hunt for us. In Portugal, there's a farm that just loves our visit. They actually constructed this wagon, this truck, to take our groups through the farm where they get the cork. And that's what I was just showing up later. This is so tactile. This is so organic. I love wine. I love Portuguese port. And I love corks. Oh, man. In Volterra, we know this town is famous for its alabaster. And we visit an alabaster shop. We don't need to buy anything here. We tip these guys royally, and they just love to, they're proud of their art, and they show it off. Everybody drools with photographs of Plitvice National Park in Croatia. We go there and we hike. We hike the whole park, and that lets you have a rich experience there. I love to take my joy of travel that I've had ever since I was a kid. These are my Norwegian relatives. When I was 18 years old with my buddy Gene Openjohn, one of our co-authors, that was a long time ago, 1973. And then when I was a few years older, I started finding these magic places. Walking on a ridge high in the Swiss Alps. On one side, the lake stretching all the way to Germany. On the other side, the most incredible alpine panorama anywhere, the Eigermonk and Jungfrau. And ahead of you, you hear the long legato tones of an Alphorn, announcing that the helicopter-stocked mountain hut is open, the coffee schnapps is on, and you're welcome. Well, I walked on that ridge. I discovered that ridge in my mind way back when I was a kid. 40 years later, I thought I'd go revisit it. It's still there. The magic is still there. And we capture that magic and we share it in our tours. If you want to get a little story about the growth of our tour program, it used to be pretty wild. It used to just be minibuses. I would do the driving unless I was up on the top with one of our tour members, eating the wind and enjoying the views that way. If you want the irreverent history of the Rick Steves tour, you're going to get an email tomorrow. It's going to have a link to this irreverent history talk that I like to give when we have our alumni parties. It'll also have a link, by the way, to the political speech I gave yesterday. It's my updated No Kings Rally talk. I hope that if you're curious about the plight of our democracy, you'll check that out. And you will have a link to all of our new TV shows from where the video clips you saw tonight originated. I love when I'm in Europe to spend my time researching. That's what I'll be doing during the next 50 days in order to make these discoveries and fix places that are no longer so good to recommend. I love the Amalfi Coast. I like Positano. This is Positano. But it is quite greedy. It's quite crowded. And I spent a lot of time last year looking for an alternative to Positano, and I found it. Further south on the Amalfi Coast, I found two towns where you get triple the Italy for 1/3 the cost, Minori and Maiori. And now we're getting to know those towns. We're hanging out not with tourists, but with other locals, and we're bringing much needed economy into towns that don't have an overflow of tourism. That's what we're doing to keep our tours up to date. We're steering away from the tourist traps, and we're enjoying more of the real culture as temporary locals. It can be crowded. Everybody's going to the same places at the same time. So we're looking for sites that are just as dramatic, but without the crowds. One day there can be chaos at the Colosseum, and a 5-minute drive away, you park at the Baths of Caracalla, and this amazing version of Roman engineering is empty. There's 20 people in this vast park, and maybe that's one of our tour buses. We like it on our tours to have free time, so you can do things that the whole group might not want to do. We orient and we disperse. There's plenty of free times on our tour. When you're in the Swiss Alps, you might opt to go on a Via Ferrata. It's one of the biggest thrills I've ever had, was hiking along the face of a cliff. I was too afraid to get my camera out to get shots where it was really scary. But you're carabinered up there and you inch your way around this cliff, and looked down between my legs to see tiny cows on the valley floor. Well, that's something you can do. There's lots you can do that we don't include in the tours. There's some stuff that we set you up for, but we can't do because it's a little bit dangerous. So when we're in Switzerland and Germany, we like to stop and take a pause and let people who want to go on the luge go on the luge. But it's dangerous if you're not careful. You can scrape your arm. Here's one of our tourists that had quite a souvenir to take home. And we remind people this is not for everybody, and we can let you do it obviously on your own time, but it won't be as part of the tour. There's a lot of exercise going on. If I ever want to feel good about the exercise I get when I'm on the road, I look at my step count on my iPhone. I mean, you can tell on this annual look at my steps in the first 6 months of last year, it looks like I went to Europe 3 times because that's when I got my exercise. This is Francesca. She embodies what a local guide's all about. Oh, our local guides are so wonderful. This is Malcolm Miller, bless his heart. He's getting quite old now and not doing as many tours. But for 20 years, Malcolm Miller was showing us Chartres Cathedral, the beloved scholar from Scotland who made his life's work enthusing about the wonders of Gothic to travelers coming through Chartres. There are a lot of beloved scholars whose life work is to share the wonder of Europe's culture. And when you have a local guide to bring it to life, the fan vaulting, it's like trumpets heralding an amazing age 1,000 years ago. We have creative ways to help teach the art appreciation. We love nothing more than to build a Gothic cathedral with 13 tourists before going into our first Gothic cathedral. And then we know what the skeleton of support is all about. Look at that skeleton of support. Columns, buttresses, pointed arches, making room for lots of light. The walls become not thick and heavy with tiny windows to support heavy ceilings, but with the magic of the pointed arch, you got a skeleton of support and walls become window holders. Make way for glorious medieval stained glass. Wow. There's a lot of ancient wonders. This is an ancient Roman temple, 1,800 years ago in southern France. This is a Roman bath, 1,700 years ago in England, in the town of Bath, called Bath. There's the Roman bath. This is a 1,200-year-old church in Ireland, made without mortar by people who knew how to stack stones pretty well. To stumble onto that with your guide and go inside, that is a great experience. We'll be in Greece, and we're going to line up on that starting block where 776 years before Christ, the first Olympic Games were held. Right there. Wow. And you got a guide to bring it all to life for you. We know where the good castles are. I've been looking for castles for 40 years. This is one of my favorites, Burg Eltz. It's not on the Rhine, because that's where all the tourists are. And it's not destroyed. The castles on the Rhine are destroyed. You go to the Mosel River and you find Burg Eltz. We trace the architecture. We've been coming to the Sagrada Familia Church in Barcelona for decades, and it's finally ready for prime time. It's ready for Mass. And we go inside with a local guide, and we understand Modernisme, the Catalan version of Art Nouveau. The culture, the high art of Europe is on display like never before. And what we want to do is bring meaning to it. I'm so inspired by the Europeans' appreciation of culture and art and history and how they can learn from it. Here we have a local school teacher with a bunch of second graders sitting there peacefully, attentively, cross-legged on the floor, learning about a naked prostitute painted by Manet as part of the Impressionist movement. It's amazing how Europe can embrace art and how we can just get freaked out about a few things. We find some towns where we are really well known and people really appreciate us coming back year after year. This is a town in the south of Spain, Arcos, and there's even a bedroom there that has my name on it. There's several places in Europe where you can actually have the Rick Steves bedroom. The point is, we have location. That's what matters. Location, location, location. We're not looking for the hotel with all the modern elevators way out of town where you can't do anything without your own car. We're right downtown, so if you want to be out late, you can stroll and you can get back to your hotel easy. There's nothing like getting away from your group, having an hour just with your favorite travel partner, strolling on the passeggiata or the paseo. I was in Ronda recently in southern Spain. This is the view from my window, and I was so happy because this was a hotel that our group stay in. They knew me well because every couple of days a guide comes in with 25 Americans on a Rick Steves tour. The view in the morning, it was breathtaking. What a place to be. We stay right downtown in Venice. I was just there a few months ago. Get out early, stay out late. The town is all yours. It's got a magic allure. We stay right downtown in Rothenburg, and you can ramble the ramparts, floodlit, after all the tour buses are gone. We stay right downtown in Salzburg, so you can be there in the beer garden with all the locals. We stay in the villages, in Cinque Terre in so many cases. We just love to be in the towns at magic hour. They've made their money, they push their postcard racks away, and the local people come out to enjoy their city. Toledo, Sevilla. And if you're out and about in Sevilla after dark, when it's cool and the people are relaxed, that's when you might see a bunch of kids marching slowly, trudging up and down the neighborhood streets with like a box spring of a bed or something to practice. What are they practicing for? These are the guys, the teams that march unseen underneath these floats through the streets of Seville every Easter time, every religious festival. There's so many dimensions of this culture that we can enjoy. When you're downtown, your guide knows when the Gothic Cathedral puts on the laser light show. It's free. And if you're out and about after dinner, it's good to know about it. And then you just stretch out right there on the cobblestones in front of that 800-year-old cathedral, and you have your mind blown by movies, projected laser beams that take you back and celebrate the history and the heritage of that great building. We look long and hard for the best flamenco show. You don't need to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and do flamenco with the locals. You can if you want to. But we book one of the tourist shows that really gets you up close and personal with the act. Culture shock, it's pretty intense. Look at the fear on that little 5-year-old girl's face with well, maybe she's a 3-year-old, I don't know. But that's pretty close to the culture. And that's where we want. We want the front seat of the action. We really love the music, whether it's the troubadours, who are the fado singers in Portugal, or the fishermen's widows, who are the fado singers in Lisbon, or a set played by traditional musicians in so many pubs in Ireland or Scotland, or with a little after-dinner salon concert in Warsaw, in Poland, where Chopin, the beloved Polish composer, wrote such beautiful music. To be there in the land of Chopin, hearing Chopin, I just love it. Your guide knows about the theater on the south coast of England. And if you want to, you can be there enjoying a play with a view of the Atlantic. Your guide knows where, when you wander the back streets of Venice, you can find a floating vegetable market. Your guide knows how, when you come back to the bus in Portugal, you are in the mood for a pastéis de Belém, my favorite custard pie anywhere in the world. And these are literally hot out of the oven. Oh, just looking at that makes my endorphins do little flip-flops. Oh, and this is Madame Dumont. We know these people. This is the beloved chocolatier whose family has made chocolate for this little town in Belgium for generations. And she would love to give you a look around. She'd love to give you a taste. And then you know what the best chocolate in the world tastes like. So many great, unforgettable eating opportunities. And something we're doing more and more of lately in our tours are cooking demonstrations, and a chance to actually help with the cooking and certainly help eat it. Here we're making pierogi. You saw me with Tomasz. This is one of our tour groups in somebody's home. That's Tomasz's home right there. I see Tomasz on the wall with his little child. Ah! And they made some beautiful pierogi, and I know what they taste like. Your guide knows that life is too short in Spain to eat mediocre ham. You need not jamón serrano. You need, for once in your life, jamón ibérico. I need to take just a moment here with my ham, excuse me. Seriously, I can hardly contain myself. I got to have another sip of my my bison grass vodka. On my beautiful cut glass, crystal glass here by my friend Sean DeLay. Sean DeLay. He's a glass cutter in Ireland. His name means in French, chandelier. Breakfast on top of a beautiful hotel in downtown Sevilla. This is a tour breakfast. I was in this hotel with one of our groups. Beautiful place to be in the cool of the early morning. Eating with the season. I didn't know there was such a thing as zucchini flowers until I noticed every plate's got zucchini flowers on them. What's going on? The zucchini flowers are in season. We're going to eat them. When you're in Nice, you can have a Nice salad, a salad niçoise. When you're in Capri or the Amalfi Coast, why not a salad caprese, insalata caprese? We want to eat the local specialties. When we're in England, we can have afternoon tea, but not in a department store with so many tourists and just they slam it out. In an elegant garden, you can do that. I was just there filming. On our Basque tour, you'll be in San Sebastian. This is where Franco went on his vacations for decades. I don't know if he enjoyed the food, but I go there for the tapas. Oh, baby. I think they're called pinchos in Basque country. The best gourmet tapas. You could do a whole tour based on tapas in the Basque country. And I like the fact that on our tours, only half of the dinners are included so that you have half of the dinners on your own. And then you can go to a romantic gourmet place if you like, or you can just picnic in your room if you like. But I love well-presented meals, beautiful Michelin class food with a smart local clientele, not a bunch of tourists, to be honest with you. And that's a dimension of your tour that you can have. Remember, your guide is going to be pretty tough love when it comes to maximizing your experiences. You're going to have an escargot when you're in Burgundy. When I crossed the border, as I did for 25 years with our Best of Europe tour when I was the guide, my favorite dinner, and I think, was coming from Switzerland into France, spend that first night in Beaune, and I get 24 escargot. Everybody has one. Half the people don't like it, but half the people do. And for the rest of their lives, they'll be thankful that they know what a good escargot is. Fresh seafood in Greece? Yeah, baby. Oh, fresh seafood in Portugal? Yeah, baby. This is barnacles, percebes. And they eat them like beer nuts with the beer. It's a little expensive because it's dangerous to harvest it. But when you go to Portugal, your guide will make sure that you get to try the barnacles. And why not urchins? When you're in Naples, that's a pretty cool thing to try some of these sexy urchins. And I gotta say, absinthe, it turns you green. I was at a bar in Antibes on the south coast of France. And the bar is famous for its absinthe, that hallucinogenic liqueur with a rotting bug in it or something, like roach or something, I don't know. But they have a gimmick where they have a green light, or they take a picture of you, and then you can prove that you enjoyed the absinthe. When you're in Spain, your guide, like Federico here, he's going to get you a plate of pimiento de padrón. And it's like Russian roulette for your taste buds. That's an experience you'll never forget. One of these is very hot, and the rest are sweet. And you dig through that beautiful pile of tapas, waiting for that little landmine of a taste to explode in your mouth. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be right here on the Greek islands. And I don't let a sun go down when I'm on a Greek island without having a nice cloudy glass of ouzo. We are cultural chameleons on our tours. When we cross the border, what are you going to drink? I'm going to drink what she's having, and he's having, and she's having. We want to drink what the locals are having. I never work all day long in Seattle and go home and crave a nice cloudy glass of ouzo. I don't even like the taste of ouzo in this hemisphere. But there's something about drinking it right here with my little perch on a little island in Greece. We go to this island. This is a half-hour walk, this spot here from our hotel. And that's where I like my ouzo. Wine tasting. Wine is a big part of the culture. Whether you're a teetotaler or not, you got to get into that, the cherished traditions of the vineyard. And we were just, you saw the TV show where we met Raul, whose family has been here for 20 or so generations. And it was just a beautiful experience. Wow. And to see him grip that label with so much family pride and share it with people from far away. Our guides are very helpful, by the way, in helping us find these wonderful attractions. We need to do more than just the marquee sites and the crowded bucket list sites. We need to have those experiences. These vines here are on the slopes of Mount Etna, the volcano in Sicily. The soil is black. It's from lava. And with our local Sicilian wine family guide taking us on a walk through their vineyard and then into the house, marveling at the giant grape press that the people used centuries ago in this same house, and then sitting down with the children of the patriarch, the sons and the daughters, serving us wine from the family farm with 0-kilometer ingredients for lunch. Such a good match, such a good marriage, and to have them there with us with pride explaining the experience that we're having. That is a magic moment right there. The Benatti boy, your tour guide, Alfio, and I'm being you right there. I am experiencing this, and I am enjoying this, and I am proud that our tours bring you to this place. I'm fundamentally an independent traveler, but I recognize the efficiency and the economy of organized travel, and we protect the education and the vivid experience of going on your own, but we do it in a more efficient and economic way by having 25 people share that experience with a great bus, a great driver, and a wonderful local guide. And 40 years of experience gaining these connections, like with the Benatti family on the slopes of Mount Etna. So group after group can come there, meet the boys, drink the wine, and enjoy a lunch you will never forget. It's no coincidence that I know what the word indimenticabile means in Italian. Unforgettable. Those are the experiences we like to offer. Indimenticabile. We don't schedule a tour to be there for the palio, but if it is, you're going to know how to enjoy it. There's so many festivals in Europe, and if there's a festival there, whoa, baby, we're going to try to be there. And if there's not a festival, there's probably a thriving market street where if you're so inclined, you can lose yourself in the action. For me, the action is in the smiles and the appreciative faces, just giddy with the experience they've had. And I'll be in Europe for the next 50 days. I'm going to meet a lot of tour groups. As I said, we got 100 buses on the road right now. Everywhere I go, there are groups having a great time. And I drop in, I find out where they're eating dinner, and I drop in and say hi. And when I see these people, well into their tour, having the time of their life, loving their guide, I'm so proud, so thankful for the hard work our guides do, and my staff right here at Rick Steves Europe. We have 100 people working hard to make sure 30,000 of all of you enjoy your trips with us. This is my son, Andy. It must be 35 years ago. On a luge, going down that mountain. Took Andy to Europe every year of his life. Today, Andy is one of our 200 guides. Andy's a wonderful tour guide. He's with 25 people in Italy somewhere right now. And Andy, again, is one of 200 guides. And our guides just love our tour members. It's a beautiful match. Our guides are at your service. They're your friend. They're on board. They know our philosophy, and they know how to make sure you enjoy maximum travel thrills for every mile, minute, and dollar in your upcoming vacation. I want to remind you, this finishes off our 2026 Festival of Tours. All of these events, 2, 4, 6, 8, over the last 2 weeks, are available on our website. So if you're thinking of Britain or Germany or Italy or Spain or France, you can tune in here and talk with one of our local guides and one of our European guides, one of our staffers who knows the tours insides and out, and one of our guides who know how to actually put these tours together. And you can learn more about those tours. I want to remind you, we got a few seats left on 2026 tours. Those are on sale right now for up to $300 off. Anybody booking any tours because of our festival time here until July 6th, you get $100 off on any 2027 tour. So you got some time to get that early booking discount. I want to remind you, if you go to ricksteves.com, you've got a wealth of information, and everything on this watch, read, and listen page is free. All of our TV shows, all of our Monday night travel archives, all of my lectures, all of my Classroom Europe clips, all of our radio show hours. We've got 800 hours from our radio show. It's all right here, and that's designed to help you learn from our experience rather than your own and get it right the first time. Oh, by the way, a couple years ago, we did a much more extensive tour festival, and we've got 20 different destinations. It's not right up to date because it's a couple years old, but it is in our archive on our website. And if you want an entire evening dedicated to one of these, it's triple the coverage that we're doing this year. So that's where we were really eager to spend 20 nights in a row sharing our love of Europe with you. And when I want to remember how great Europe is, I just walk on down to Rick Steves Europe. I lay on the floor and I look up at the ceiling and I think, man, it is such a blessing. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to explore and experience Europe. We hope that you can enjoy Europe, and we'd love to be part of your European travel experience. All right, Ben, I was just getting carried away there. That was just so fun. I love all those ideas, the wow moments.
Absolutely, Rick. They were fantastic. In fact, we had a few requests for you to tune in live during your time in Europe on Monday Night Travel. What do you think of that?
Not likely. You know, when I'm over there, I'm just a heat-seeking missile. I'm focused on my work. I'd love to do it. It'd be a lot of fun. But I've got an exciting mission. I am just so excited about getting over there. I've ripped up my books. I got my bag packed. I've figured out what time I'm going to call an Uber in the morning, and I'll be reporting on Facebook. So if people want to tune into Rick Steves on Facebook, I do a lot of posting on Facebook. Otherwise, I'm just making sure those guidebooks are right up to date and having a lot of fun.
And I think I've scheduled you for a trip report for Monday Night Travel, so you will talk about these upcoming travels later on.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me. I'll have some, I'm sure I'll have some stories to tell.
And another request for you, Rick, that I think will be more likely to be fulfilled. A few people would like you to grow your beard again.
Now that's interesting because I was just asking my girlfriend, should I grow a beard? I like to grow a beard when I'm on the road. It just makes me feel kind of, it reminds me of the trip I made when I was 23 years old on the hippie trail. I'm just off the road. I did a 5-6 day road trip around the country and talked to each independent bookstore, gathered 600 or 700 or 800 people, and they all had the book. And I got to tell stories from this book and how it was the making of a travel writer. I was out in, where was I? Chicago, Boston, Indianapolis, Kansas City, San Diego. Mm-hmm. Great trip, great airline service. I mean, every day I was on a plane going somewhere. It worked like clockwork. I'm not even worried about jinxing it. It worked like clockwork. You got to be nimble. You got to get to the airport early. You don't want to check a bag, but I guess I've got it down because it works for me. And I'm really thankful for that. And it was just so great to get out there and connect with people that love the work that our guides do.
And that hippie trail talk is another Monday Night Travel. In fact, you've done two. So
yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point because you guys, you're my heroes. The people, we started this just out of some sort of crazy little idea on the beginning of COVID, just so we all had something to do together on Monday to scratch our travel bug bites. And we've had, what, how many, 250 Monday night travels or something like that.
Pretty close to 250. That's right, Rick.
And
Yeah.
we save them. So if you want to go with me to my trip on Morocco or hiking around Mount Blanc or any number of great Monday night travels that you guys have put together, they're all right there, and it's lots of good information and it's entertaining. So thanks for the work that you and the team do.
Oh, thank you, Rick. I will get to a few questions now before we say goodnight. Todd brought up a good point. You mentioned maybe a year or two ago that you would like to bring an issues tour to our Rick Steves Europe program. Do you have any update on that?
The issues tour, it's just nagging me. I would love to do it. I feel like I'm coming through a very intense time of my career with a lot of serious production, and I'm getting that, I'm putting the cherry on top of a lot of that stuff. So when I come back this summer, I'm going to have a chance to look ahead, and the issues tour is still on the middle burner. I've got, I really want to do it. My dream is to have 3 nights each in maybe Copenhagen, Hamburg, Amsterdam, and Brussels, and then fill it with issues that how Europe is dealing with the same issues we're dealing with, and just have an experience and be inspired by Europe. I'd love to do it. Stay tuned and keep nagging me to do that.
Will do, Rick. We've had a few people bring up, and you did touch on this earlier, the issue of fuel shortage. That does seem to be something that people are most concerned about. Could you just address that again? Are you concerned about fuel shortage, canceling flights?
Well, yeah, I'm concerned about it, but what good does that do? I'm certainly not going to bail out of anything. I'm going to hope it straightens out. I think we got to remember news is designed to be a little bit hysterical. If it bleeds, it leads. It's all about eyeballs and clickbait and so on. So I've found that, like I've been probably on 20 flights in the last month around the country. I've never encountered more than a 2-minute wait at a TSA check. And will there be chaos in the airline industry? There can be chaos. It's, I'm really into efficiency. That's one thing I like about America is we are predictable, we are efficient, you can do good business, it can be a good value, and it can also be profitable. You see, I want to make money, and I want to offer something that is a great value at an incredible good price. And that can be done if everything is efficient. When it's not efficient, that's where it just gets very, very frustrating. Our president is about inefficiency, chaos, and he may think that's a great way to distract people, but we're all suffering from a society and an economic world that's less efficient. I think we're going to get back to there. I think the way I understand it, some countries are going to hurt more than other countries because of their oil reserves are more varied. I think Asian societies are more reliant on oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. But I think Europe is a good place if you're going to be traveling. I'm going there. We've got guides over there all the time. And we've been, this is nothing new. We've been doing these tours for 40 years to Europe through volcanoes, through wars, through terrorism, through all sorts of craziness. And you just, you keep your eye on the prize.
So true. I will ask just one more question, Rick. We are talking about experiences, and I think we're thinking about what experiences we want to have on our next trip. But the joy of experiences are also remembering what we've experienced in the past. How do you keep your travel memories alive, Rick? Let's say you can't give a presentation like this, which obviously helps you keep them in memory.
It's funny you ask that, Ben, because I've got a strange kind of world. I can make calendars of my favorite experiences and sell them. I can make a mural. I can hire my niece to make a mural, and then, as you know, Ben, we can make puzzles out of it. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but we're looking at it. And these are my journals typed up from 6 or 7 years of traveling back when I was just a kid. And these are highlighted with things that my staff says I shouldn't let the public read because it's too politically incorrect. But this is the writings of a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old. And if you keep a journal, wow. I noticed a stiffness and a pain in my back that bugged me for a long time. I hope it's not serious. I must have strained it somehow. Soon we were on the coast of a beautiful lake at a town called Spitz. I walked around, it was really nice, and caught the boat to Interlaken. Our interrail passes were good for this, and the conductor let us stay in first class, where we had a light meal and enjoyed the view as we hopped from town to town around a lake I will never forget, to Interlaken. Just to grab those we found a very nice place called Stadtkeller and ordered cheese fondue and a bratwurst, potatoes and a salad. We were smart to order just one fondue because it was really big enough for two. That was just when I was a kid, but I've got these memories here. I would recommend writing a journal. I think that's the best thing.
How do you stay disciplined to do it, though? How do you make time? That's the challenge, I think.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. When you have downtime, a lot of people have something going on. A lot of people, they're reading a book, they're listening to a book, podcast, and so on. I have really, really benefited from enjoying writing stuff down. I think it helps you organize your thoughts. And it's years later, you treasure that journal. You really do. Hey, Ben, this has been so fun. I'm so glad we're doing Scandinavian capitals coming up in the next couple of weeks. And I'm so glad you guys are doing that Ask Any Question next week. There's a lot of travel experience collectively with all of our Monday Night Travel team. And right now, I just want to thank you all for letting us share with you the enthusiasm we have for our tour program. We're taking next year, 2027, we're going to take 35,000 Americans around Europe on 12 or 1,400 different tours, 45 itineraries. And I'm going to be proud of each one of them because of the quality of our guides and the great itineraries we have. Thank you very much. Happy travels. And I'll be reporting in from Europe over the next 2 months.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you, everyone, for traveling with us. Have a great evening.